Who do you favor in that matchup between Pacquiao and obviously Errol Spence?
I still just favor the young generation here. You know, he's wiggled away that victory on me by 1 point. Errol prides himself on outperforming me. All he has to do is do it one more time, and I believe he has all the tools that it takes to beat a Manny Pacquiao. Plus, I also think styles makes fights. How is Pacquiao going to perform when his awkward movement against right-handed fighters is not going to be the same against the southpaw? It's going to be more like an orthodox fighting another orthodox. Now, we haven't seen Errol or Manny fight a ton of skillful southpaws throughout their career, so we don't know necessarily who this favors when it comes to southpaw versus southpaw. But the last time I saw Errol, I think it might have been against Lamont Peterson, based off of my own memory, against a very talented southpaw. Errol Spence walked him down, utilized the jab all day, and was able to pretty much win off of the 1 and the 2, you know. And I think he can try to take that fundamental approach, but with Manny's movement, he might make it a little difficult to stick that jab out all day. But he's the bigger man. I think he can press Manny back. We know when he gets you on the ropes, he likes to go to the body. And I just think that there are more than 1 or 2 things that do favor Errol Spence in this fight. But like I was saying earlier, if anybody's going to surprise us and jump in with that speed and that power and catch you off guard, it's Manny Pacquiao.
Spence versus Manny.
I think it's a 50-50 fight, to be honest. I can see both of them knocking each other out. I think that fight is not going to go to the distance. I think somebody's getting knocked out. It could be either or. If Manny fights the way he fought Thurman, I think he can stop Spence. But if Spence comes on his A game, I think Spence can stop him.
But how unreal would that be? He's 42 years old. Like, for yourself, does that inspire you?
Yeah, hell yeah. I mean, he's a legend. Manny Pacquiao is a legend, so he always has that extra motivation.
100%.
The age don't matter, you know what I mean? So he knows what to do.
100%.
You gotta be on your A game against Manny.
Tim, what's the chances that Manny can bring in the same form he did against Thurman? That he could come back at that level at 42, 2 years off?
Listen, I mean, you can never count out Manny Pacquiao. He's a tough guy to not root for, honestly. Even at 42 years old, man, he's like I keep saying this, man, he's the Tom Brady of boxing. He really is, man. Just his tenacity he brings in the ring, his hunger. Just not sure how much he has left. He's been out of the ring. It's been almost 2 years since Thurman, so I don't know. I don't know what he's been doing. He's just a gifted athlete. It could be his time. Maybe he can rise once again. Errol Spence is just a different cat, man. He's a different cat. He's not a Keith Thurman. Earl is big, he's strong, he's long, consistent jab, knows how to negate distance, know how to control distance. His framework is beautiful, man. The way he lines up his shots, gets himself in position. He does a lot of great things. There's one thing that I see that could affect him during the fight. He tends to come back. He'll work, and then he'll come right back to the center. And then Manny Pacquiao, he loves guys that come straight back in the center and back in the line of fire. So that way he can we're letting his straight left hand.
Is there any way he's too straight up and down and Manny can take advantage of that? I mean, we talk about Errol Spence, one of the best in the world, but, a guy that hands up, walks you down with the jab, that kind of thing. Can Manny, it's nothing he's seen before, or?
No, I mean, Manny's seen it all.
Right.
Manny's seen it all, but the difference is that, I don't think Manny's seen a southpaw this big and this active before, and this smart. So, there's always some danger when you're in the ring with Manny Pacquiao, because the power is the last thing that leaves you. It really is. Manny does still have some speed. He's still fluent with his combinations. But the back end of the fight, it's going to be very interesting because Spence don't get tired. He keeps coming and coming and coming, and his volume and work and his power that he brings, bro, it wears on you. So, great fight. All together it's a great fight. I would favor Spence in the fight, but you never count Manny out, man. Manny's a beast. Yep.
I just mean I expect he'll have some opportunities, right? Because Spence is unlike a Mayweather, who was
the speed will create opportunities for Manny. The speed, yeah, he's quick and he closes the distance extremely fast. Meaning that he'll be here 1 minute and then he'll be here, the neck, like blink of an eye. So if you're not set, you're not ready to punch all the time, he's going to be looking for you to not be set so that way he can work. So Spence, knowing Spence, how disciplined he is, how he keeps his hands up and he's tight with it and he uses his stick, he should be able to control and negate the distance. He should be able to control distance outside. And as long as you keep Manny outside, you can beat him. You can beat him, man. So I think Spence has that ability. He showed it against, who was it? Mikey Garcia. Yeah. Well, he never allowed Mikey Garcia to even get close to him to land a bomb. And if he can do the same thing, same kind of fight, he has to fight. Same kind of fight against Pac. He can beat him.
I think Spence wins. I think Spence wins. I don't think Spence knocks out Pacquiao though. I think a lot of people think Spence is gonna knock out Pacquiao. I don't think that happens. I think Pacquiao fights a very good fight. Loses decision, but I think it's a very good matchup.
It's a real fight.
Yeah,
it
it's
won't
a real
be
fight.
one-sided.
No, it's not. Pacquiao can fight. Pacquiao's bad.
Pacquiao Spence, you had a hell of a fight with Pacquiao, went 12. How's that fight going to play out with him and Spence?
That was a good fight, man. Manny's a little older. You know, he's still, you know, a champion. He's still at the peak, but you know, Errol Spence seems like younger, stronger. You know, he's in his prime. Might be a dangerous fight for Manny Pacquiao.
Let's say Pacquiao's able to be the same fighter he was in 2016 when you fought. Does that guy beat Errol Spence?
You know, we could go back and come up with assumptions, but at the end of the day, it's 2021. Manny, I believe, is like 41, 42.
42.
Right? So, with that being said, it's not going to be easy for Manny. It's a big risk for him because he's coming back at an older age and trying to fight the top guy in the division at the moment. You know, one of the top guys in the division, because I continue thinking that he's between T-Bud and Spence.
Right.
I really like Crawford. I think he's a phenom. He has a great style. Very much so. Stylistically speaking, he's very, very talented. You know, and a special one at that. But going back to Spence versus Pacquiao, I think it'd be an interesting fight. I think Manny Pacquiao is gonna have to give it all he has, one last shot. You know what I mean? And for him to win. But Spence is no joke. You know, he's the real deal.
How does Manny get past that active, long southpaw jab? You know, I imagine it's going to be hard for him to get inside. This guy isn't orthodox like he's used to. It's another southpaw. What's he got to do to get past that damn jab of Spence?
You have to keep in mind that the man that has the advantage here of having any type of difficulty when it comes to southpaw is going to be Spence, not Manny, because Manny has a longer repertoire, right? Meaning experience of so many different styles that he faced against. So I would assume that him feeling comfortable against another lefty, it would be Manny Pacquiao feel comfortable. Spence is going to have to make some adjustments, you know, and adapt, and not only that, but he is going to see a fighter which he's never seen before when it comes to stylistically. He will have to adjust to his speed, you know, his lateral movements. Many of those factors are going to have a big play in this fight, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Do you think that the power will surprise Spence? Is it surprising when you feel the power of Manny Pacquiao?
The speed, mainly. The speed and then the explosiveness that Pacquiao has along with the experience. But I mean, he could do it. He could do it because he's a very talented fighter and he has the strength, he has the reach advantage, the height advantage. He just has to use it to his benefit.
And I just ask again because it looks like it always surprises guys when Manny is able to land with the power. But
yeah,
but
like he did against Thurman,
right?
You know, several others. You know, he shocks them.
They always look like I didn't expect that.
Exactly. I mean, we'll see, man. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be very interesting. A good fight overall. I think that it's going to be an action-packed fight all the way through. They're really going to have to battle it out, and they're going to have to prove to the fans and the judges, mainly to show who's the top one.
You know, Pacquiao versus Spence. What's the experience? You, a champion who's been in with both. What's the experience like being in with Pacquiao and versus Spence?
I mean, they're two different things entirely. You know, I'm getting asked about this a lot, obviously, and I've been thinking about it a lot too. It's crazy, but in my mind, I'm like, Pacquiao can win the fight.
How?
I mean, the way he wins every fight, you know, like he's just that guy. You can never count him out. He's still fast. He's still explosive. He still hits hard. He still has those bricks for hands. He still has that super awkward style that's really difficult to find and to hit with more than one punch at a time. Then Spence he's the Terminator. You know, he's big, he's strong, he's young. And I think I said in another interview, like my heart's with Pacquiao because I'm nostalgic and you know he's Pacquiao.
Right.
You know, I think even Spence said that. He looks up to him, he respects him tremendously. And he, you know, when he beat Thurman, it was crazy. And still beating undefeated world champions in his 40s, and doing it impressively. But you know, my brain and my betting line would go with Spence, younger, stronger, you know, and I think also we haven't seen the best of Spence. I think he has another level to his game that we haven't seen.
What do you think he can just turn it up more? He already throws a lot of punches, but what do you think he can?
I think in fights when he's needed to show other things, he does. You know, and he's almost like one of those guys who just adapts to whatever's in front of him and just, you know, gets ahead of when he needs to. He did it with Mikey Garcia. He's like, I can box. Watch this. Yeah, boxing.
Right.
You know, one of the best boxers around. You know, Kell Brook, he fought him. You know, that was Kell Brook's chance. He fought him and he broke his eye and busted him up and made him quit. Trying to think of other fights.
Leonard Bundu, even, you know, he boxed him until he knocked him out.
He boxed him until he slept him. You know, he's and you know, or that who's that kid who blacked out with a body shot? They just blasted some guys out. Yeah, he can. Yeah, he wasn't expected to do anything, but he did exactly what you're supposed to do with that kind of guy.
Mm-hmm. And you know, talking with Timothy Bradley, he fought Manny Pacquiao 3 times, and yet he feels Spence will win the fight. And his main reasoning was, you know, Manny's not fighting an orthodox guy; he's fighting a southpaw, and he just thinks that jab of Spence, probably the best at welterweight, it'll be too hard for even Manny to get past it and get inside and get in the range he needs. How could Manny get past that jab? I mean, is it just?
I'm trying to think when was Manny's last southpaw that he fought.
Right.
Yeah, it's really. I don't really know. Have to look into that, but yeah, no, I mean he's gonna have to use his angles and his speed, like everything else, and his timing. But it's just tough because he's got a guy who's bigger, longer, you know, who's got great timing too. Who's got great judge of range and distance, you know. So that I think that might be the most difficult part of dealing with Spence is first for Pacquiao is going to be dealing with that distance change and his judgment.
Who do you feel has the power in this fight?
The one punch power is Pacquiao. Yeah, speed kill and the speed with the power. No, his punches they're shocking.
Yeah,
shocking.
I saw that look on Cotto's face, on almost every fighter,
Thurman,
Shane Mosley.
Yeah, everyone's like, what the hell? He's got bricks for hands. It's crazy. and they're fast. Spence is more of a thudding. He's physically strong, hits hard with everything, throws a lot of punches. He's one of the only top guys who's like throws in combination. You know, a lot of guys are, you know, one punch guys. They said not him. He throws combinations. He stays on it. The conditioning is phenomenal. That would be the difference. You know, it's the one punch versus, you know, the break you down kind of.
The accumulation.
Yeah.
And he's a great body puncher too, Spence.
Great body puncher. And Manny has some trouble body punching.
Antonio Margarito.
Exactly. Cotto, that was the only thing he was really able to do was, you know, a couple good body shots. Margarito was literally the only shots he landed.
Manny Pacquiao que sigue peleando el día de hoy y tiene una pelea difícil con Errol Spence Jr.
Sí, fíjate, sí, para mí es una leyenda Manny Pacquiao, la verdad, y digo, su trabajo se le ha visto. Realmente yo creo que está listo todavía. No, digo, a veces yo me retiré del boxeo tantos años que estuve dentro del boxeo, pero digo, los años pesan, pero realmente pues la experiencia cuenta mucho.
Tiene que tirar 1000 golpes para ganarle a Errol Spence, es lo que hizo la noche que peleó con usted para ganarle.
Yo creo que sí, pero realmente la verdad que Manny Pacquiao es un gran peleador, la verdad que, y así como tú lo mencionas, realmente tira demasiados golpes, la verdad que cuando yo iba a pelear con él yo siempre lo mencioné, dije no, ¿sabes qué? Me puede dar 6 por 1, no hay problema, pero cuando yo lo agarre, pero para agarrarlo, y es que la verdad me daba como 7, 8 por 1, realmente es demasiado rápido Manny Pacquiao.
¿Tú crees que Spence pueda conectarlo? Porque él es zurdo también, es diferente vista.
Es diferente, te digo por qué. ellos, los zurdos, están acostumbrados a pelear con un peleador derecho. Tienen que voltear igualmente como uno de derecho, tiene que voltear todo, manoplas, spar y todo eso, y ahora tienen que controlar un peleador zurdo y manoplarlo de esa manera, pero creo que se puede adaptar Manny Pacquiao.
¿A quién le va a beneficiar ese zurdo? ¿A quién le va a beneficiar? ¿A Spence o a Pacquiao?
Creo yo que se le va a facilitar a Manny Pacquiao, porque si Manny Pacquiao se mueve demasiado y la verdad es muy rápido.
Víctor, por último, de Manny Pacquiao, ¿tú crees que la pegada de Manny, qué es lo que va a ser lo más importante para Manny para ganarle a Errol Spence esa noche de 2-21?
Aquí realmente yo creo que todos los golpes que tira Manny Pacquiao es demasiado rápido, es demasiado movido. Yo sé que mucha gente está diciendo que los años pesan, pero realmente cuando uno que sigue haciendo ejercicio, realmente no. Yo te voy a mencionar, yo te digo, porque cuando yo regresé al boxeo, realmente tantos años te duelen hasta las coyunturas, ¿no? Pero realmente yo creo que Manny Pacquiao es un excelente peleador, y para mí, yo soy como Manny Pacquiao.
Crazy, but I think it's whoever strikes first. I think that both these guys have the power to finish one another. Both these guys, of course, have the eye and everything, all the intangibles. I mean, we can't speak enough about either of these guys and their intangibles and their abilities. I really do think it's whoever strikes first, whoever lands that punch first.
I do respect Pacquiao, but I still do favor Spence. Just because for a few size, same reasons why I favor myself, size, youth, and then ultimately, when was the last time we saw Pacquiao against a world-class southpaw? Styles makes fights, especially against Manny Pacquiao. We've seen it throughout his career many different times. But his number one attribute is that speed and that power, and coming in at awkward little angles with that burst of energy. You know, I do believe that that's something that Errol has not seen in his career, punches the way that Pacquiao punches, but I was able to walk Pac down, keep my guard up. Spence is really good in this guard. You know, Spence from this side, he's really good in this guard. He's got that long jab, and I think he'll be able to do what he needs to do in the fight. But I'm not saying Pacquiao's out of it. If anybody's gonna make another upset, even though I heard theoretically he's already favored in Vegas. So, you know, is it an upset? Is it not an upset? It is what it is, man. He's a legend for a reason. I hope he comes with all the gusto that he did in the performance against me, because that's what I tipped his hat off to. He fought a good fight, he fought a smart fight, and he ended up edging me out. Will he be able to do the same with Spence? I do not know.
So Fred from Barbershop Conversations had an interview. Well, he was on his show, and Errol called in spontaneously. And during that time he was on, he said that he was about 75 to 80% versus Danny Garcia. Do you believe that? And do you? So with a 100% Errol, is he capable of the knockout over Manny Pacquiao?
Errol knows how to sit down on his punches. You know, we've seen him get real wide. We've seen him get real wide with that front foot and load up into this left hook. That left hook can come like this. That left hook can turn into an uppercut. And then when he's got people on the ropes here, he likes to get that right foot on the outside, and he's got a real nice right hook up top, a real nice right hook to the body, and then the follow-up is the left hook. So it's either right hook up top, left uppercut to the body, boom, to the head, or body. You know, he's notorious for getting in those positions. I think one of the hardest things when facing Errol Spence is to not fight his fight. Anybody who's ever did good against Errol Spence had them, like even when Kell Brook was doing good, Spence wasn't able to fight his fight. When Sean was doing good, Spence wasn't able to fight his fight. So how much can Pacquiao make Errol uncomfortable and not let him fight his fight, which is walk you down, stay behind the jab, and then go bop, 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 bop. It's almost rhythmical. It's almost like a rhythm. You know, we know what Errol's gonna do. He's gonna walk you down and go bop, bop. Or you're gonna bring the dog out of him, and he's gonna, you know, dog you out and trade like the way he had to against Sean Porter. So he's got a lot of dog in him. He is a real fighter. But stylistically, I just want to see who dominates first. We know Errol's a little bit of a slow starter. So does Errol take dominance from the beginning? Does Pacquiao take over? Does Errol start to come back like he's done in the past against other people? I thought he started slow against Brook, and I thought he started slow against Porter. So will he start slow against Manny, or is he going to make a statement and go after those belts, you know, from round one?
Do you think 100% Errol can knock out Pacquiao?
Like I said before, I think you can stop Pacquiao with a body shot, but I think Pacquiao can stop him too.
Word?
Yeah. I think it's a 50-50 fight. I think that fight's not going the distance. I said this before in another interview. If the Pac-Man had showed up against Keith Thurman, that's a dangerous Pacquiao. You know? And the Spence that fought Kell Brook could stop Pacquiao. Spence that fought Kell Brook. You know what I'm saying? Because Manny's not going to fight you if he don't think he can beat you. He's a legend. He's not going to fight you. He's not going to fight you if he don't think he has a chance to beat you.
Yeah,
he saw our fight and he was like, okay, maybe he's not what people think. You know what I'm saying? That's what everyone says when they don't look good. I'm not 100%. You know what I'm saying? I'm not this, I'm not that. You know what I'm saying? He's a great fighter. But that's what happens when you fight another great. You don't look good. You know what I'm saying?
Where do you rate his power with everyone else you faced? Is he the biggest puncher? Earl's not.
Nah.
Spence is not. So who?
He's the strongest fighter I ever fought, physically.
In the clinch, you mean?
Just physically, you know, trying to walk you down. You feel him in front of you. You feel me? He's long, no homo.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's not the biggest puncher though, but he's the physically strong. Thurman's harder hitter than him.
Really?
Yeah, Thurman punches harder than him.
Whoa.
Yeah. Thurman has more of that thump. Spence has that. He'll break you down.
Now, you sure this ain't biased? Because Thurman always saying you the hardest puncher he fought?
No, absolutely not. I mean, he's not the hardest. Matisse is the hardest puncher I ever fought.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So Thurman's not.
Yeah, I say Thurman's like the second. You know what I'm saying? But Matisse is the hardest puncher I ever fought.
Wow.
His was like, when it hit you, it was like, you got to bite down every time or he's going to knock you out. Like, he shakes your brain, that type of hit.
Damn.
Like, he hit you on this side and you feel it on the other side. But, nah, Errol's not the biggest puncher, but he's strong. He's the strongest. Him and Peterson felt like the same type of body strength. Peterson was really strong too, like physically. Like he couldn't punch, but he was strong.
Pacquiao has a double step. So before he bounce, and then he'll do a double step, and then he'll shoot. So if you watch him when he fought against Marquez timed him because he knew. Hit him with the right hand, stepped off to the side. He knew it was coming straight in. Bing. Set him down. All right? And so, fighters have tendencies, man. Why do you think I say about Errol Spence and what he does? I'm not saying it to hate. Errol Spence is a fantastic fighter. He's a good fighter.
You pick him to win.
He's one of the best fighters of today. That's why he's in the top 10. You know what I'm saying? He's a really good fighter. Great at controlling distance. Great body puncher. You know, his velocity, all the punches he throws, his volume, I should say, is unreal. You know, a big guy coming forward at you, mauling you, chopping you down like that, that's tough to deal with, man. But he does this. He works boom, 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 right in front. He'll catch the shots, but man, he gonna be throwing combinations. So change your location, champ. Change your location. As soon as you stop working, change your location. Get an angle and get that jab back in his face. That way he can't never get that motor going. He get it and shut him down.
With the jab.
With that jab. Pop, pop, and controlling the distance.
What's Manny got to do? Because I know you picked Spence when we talked to you last month. You got Spence, and actually Nonito Donaire, he touched on a lot of what you touched on. It's a killer for Manny that he's facing a fellow southpaw. He said that blind spot ain't there. So what does Manny have to do to switch it up? What's he have to do to be effective then, since he can't go to the usual angles he's used to fighting a right-hander?
So Manny's feet is what's going to set up everything for him. It's his feet. His in and out movement. He got to be unpredictable, and he's great at that. He's one of the best at that. You know, just being unpredictable. So moving his feet, boom, fading in, moving his head, using his head movement, you know, drawing feints, draw the young fighter out. Make him make mistakes. Make him make mistakes. And then also, Manny can get in the inside and pressure him. If Manny wanted to, he could step to him. Sean Porter was able to do that. Sean Porter was able to show and dictate the pace and dictate the space at times when he fought against Spence. Spence likes to be in control. When he's not in control, you can get him. You got him. You got him flustered. Okay? Manny has that ability to step to him and get inside. Close that distance fast and work his combinations. Work his combinations. That's what he's going to have to do. And he'll have to do it all night long. Because anytime he has a little low times where he in the fights where he has to recharge, you know, because he will. He'll unleash a hell of a combination, then he recharges, and you see Manny puts his hands up.
Right.
Come on, come on, come on. He puts block shots and come on, come on. He does that. He does that. Those are the times where Spence is going to make him pay. He's going to make him pay. He's going to say, oh, okay, little man, you want to sit right there? All right, bam, bam, bam. That's when Spence is going to go to work. Manny got to be cautious of that. So, old ways, he's an old dog. He has old ways, the way he recovers. I think Spence is smart enough to figure that out. He's going to see those opportunities. He's going to take advantage of it. Manny just needs to make sure that he's not in those situations. Keep his behind off the ropes. Fight the fight in the center of the ring. Fight the fight in the center of the ring. Whoever's going to win the fight is going to dominate the center of the ring. Just put it that way. They're going to dominate the center of the ring. Whoever's going to win the fight against him and Errol Spence Jr.